Hey, good weekend to you, and welcome to Leading Edge. I'm Jerry Anderson. Happy Valentine's Day weekend to you, by the way. And a little later on, we're going to celebrate in a very artful way in Toledo. But first, my first guest is flying very high on the political radar these days, and with good reason. Congressman Tim Ryan, Ohio Congressional District 13, Democrat, seen as a rising star in the National Democratic Party, and in Ohio, may be second only to Senator Sherrod Brown in terms of party prominence. There's a lot of chatter that he'd like to join Mr. Brown over in the U.S. Senate. We'll get to that a little later, but first, Congressman, welcome. First elected to the U.S. House back in 2002. He's been elected, then reelected a total of 10 times. I have to start in that famous domed building where you do so much work, the Senate holding an impeachment trial. I went back and looked. It was on the day after the insurrection at the Capitol building that you said that then President Trump, I'm going to quote here, needs to be impeached immediately, end of quote. You referred to Mr. Trump as, I'm going to quote again, a dangerous human being, end of quote. How dangerous, and is he still dangerous now that he is private citizen, Donald Trump?
Well, certainly less dangerous. I think the case is being made pretty clearly in the United States Senate, and you're hearing Republicans like Lisa Murkowski from Alaska and Mitt Romney. Everybody's saying how compelling the case is. And so it's clear that the president had a lot to do with inciting that mob, going back to really early December when he circled January 6th, basically on the calendar. There were T-shirts being printed about it and all the rest. And he was fomenting that. He was inciting that. But here's the real issue around the impeachment that is getting more play now. Even if you can say, well, he didn't, they were going to do it anyway, whatever. He is the commander in chief. He swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. There was so much time between when the insurrection started and when he was able to say anything of note to try to push back, to try to stop it. He violated his oath to protect and defend. And to me, that goes right to the heart of the matter.
Tim Ryan, my guest, 18 years in Congress, you certainly know how to count noses. If you see a path to 67 Senate votes for conviction, please share that with my viewers. And if not, we're doing this exercise because what? Start with the path, please.
I really don't think there is a path. I think, Josh Hawley has his feet up on the desk in the Senate reading the magazine while this is all happening. Thumbing his nose at the process. So I'm not under any illusion that the Republicans in the Senate are going to convict President Trump. I just don't think that's going to happen. But the reality of it is you can't look the other way. We raise our kids to say you need consequences when you step out of line, and we discipline them. And we can't have another president come into the most powerful office and think that they can get away with stimulating an insurrection to overturn an election in which there were 60 different appeals to the accusations of fraud. You couldn't get a lawyer to say the word fraud in a court of law. They'd say it at the microphone outside the court, but when they went in, they knew they would lose their law license if they tried to perpetuate the big lie. And so they wouldn't say the word fraud. So I think this is going to end like we all know it's going to end. But the American people are watching what happened. And I think most of them aren't going to be okay with it, and not going to be okay with politicians who are going to look the other way.
I want to pick it up right there because efforts to incite, you mentioned it started long before January 6th. The verbal and tweeted barrages had been nonstop since the election. Frankly, it had started even before the election. Mm-hmm. It's in those 2 months that you, as do I, find Republicans, the mute ones, which is virtually all, again, using your word, complicit.
Mm-hmm. No question. This Ted Cruz and Howley and these guys, they're the biggest phonies ever. Here are two guys, Ben Sass and others, but here are two guys. They have the best legal educations that this country can provide in the Ivy League and all the rest. They're the two best educated people probably in the United States Senate. They know this isn't true. They know this is perpetuating a lie, but they want to go try to get the voters that Donald Trump could appeal to that they never could. And so they're willing to try to get those votes by doing anything in their power. They're putting their political careers ahead of the country, ahead of the truth, and ahead of what's right. And so they are the most complicit. But all these other guys, Kevin McCarthy, they're looking the other way. I find it lacks any kind of courage to stand up for what you believe in. And this, again, certainly not how we raise our kids. We raise our kids, think for yourself, do the right thing, even if the crowd is against you. And these people are doing the complete opposite of that.
Congressman Tim Ryan, my guest, Congressional District 13 over Northeast Ohio. I think you hail from Niles, over Youngstown area. Niles is north of Youngstown.
Niles, Ohio, man. That's
there you
hometown.
go. Big football area over there. Gee whiz.
Oh, yeah.
You had the Appropriations Committee that runs the Capitol Police Department. Well, giving kudos, and we do want to do that, to the overwhelmed police forces that were there that day. Have you discovered, Tim Ryan, how they were put in only a position to fail when you think about it? Is there any evidence that pressure somewhere up the line rendered the Capitol such a soft target?
Well, we are going to turn over every stone. I think there needs to be some kind of national commission like there was for 9/11. We need to bring some of these people before Congress and get them under oath. But we're finding out that the Capitol Police may have been asking for backup. And again, the rank and file, they're heroes for what they did on that day, because they were set up to fail by leadership. But we're finding out more and more, and we'll reveal that to the public as we find it out, that they were asking for more help, and that the hands may have been tied by the DC National Guard, who should have been ready and available, and other National Guard units around the capital region in Maryland and Virginia and Pennsylvania should have been handled well beforehand. We knew what was going to happen. We knew there was the potential of something bad to happen, and you got to prepare for the worst case scenario. So we're going to find this out. Whether this gets up to the Secretary of Defense or not, we will find out. I can promise you that. But it was clearly they were ordered to stand down and not have the equipment that they need and everything else.
Congressman Tim Ryan, my guest here on Leading Edge. Okay, a lot of folks say this guy is running for the U.S. Senate. Well, Jerry, you going to ask him? What do you think, folks? We'll do that right after this break on Leading Edge.